Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I am proud today to support House Resolution 259, which recognizes the valor and the military achievements of the members of the armed forces who participated in the invasion of France on June 6, 1944, 65 years ago. I want to commend Representative John Bozeman from Arkansas and the Chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, Ike Skelton, for sponsoring this legislation. The facts of Operation Overload, the start of what General Eisenhower called the Crusade in Europe, are clearly set forth in the text of this resolution. This was the largest amphibious operation in history, and in breaching German defenses, the Allied forces suffered more than 10,000 casualties on the first day of the invasion. Beyond the facts of the invasion, however, is the heroism and the unselfish sacrifice of the men who carried out this most magnificent operation. One such man was Sergeant Melvin Hawkeye Myers, a Comanche warrior from the Boone Apache area in my home state of Oklahoma. As a member of the 82nd Airborne Division, Sergeant Myers parachuted into Normandy in the pre-dawn hours of D-Day. He fought the vicious battles to defend the beachhead and rescued a fellow soldier before being killed on June 14th. Another Oklahoman who fulfilled his duty that day in June was Harry Foe from Oklahoma City. As a pilot of a glider, his job was to get his canvas and plywood aircraft safely to the ground. They were clumsy, he said, difficult to land, and came down pretty fast, and many of them crashed. He had one chance to land with a jeep, a trailer of medical supplies, and 15 men aboard. First glider brushed the tops of the trees before landing in the field, smashing in the whole front of the aircraft. If we recall, no one was hurt. We got down safe. But the Germans were firing on the glider in the field and threw in mortars, so Ford noted, and it was very intense, he said, until we got out of that field. On the beach, Thomas Balance, a member of the 116th Infantry in the 1st Assault Wave, left his landing craft, and floundered in knee-deep water. He was almost shot twice through his left hand. In an article he wrote, he said, I made my way forward as best as I could. My rifle jammed, so I picked up the carbine and I got off a couple of rounds. I was hit again, once in the left thigh, which broke my hip, and a couple of times in my pack, and in the chin strap of my helmet was severed by a bullet. He said, I worked my way up onto the beach and staggered up against a wall and collapsed there. The bodies of the other guys washed ashore. I was the one live body amongst many of my friends who were dead, end of quote. Because of the heroism and the perseverance of such men as Myers, Furr, and Valance, the door of Hitler's fortress in Europe was cracked open. So it is entirely fitting today, 65 years later, after that historic day, that we take time to honor and to commemorate the events of June 6, 1944. On that day, which is going to be later this week, I want to urge all my colleagues to reflect upon the extraordinary service that was rendered by the veterans of World War II. And moreover, I would like to also urge my colleagues to take time individually as they see members of the armed services, both previous and current members that they encounter, to thank them for their service to our great nation. And I heartily recommend that all my colleagues vote yes on this resolution. And Madam Speaker, I'd like to reserve the balance of my time.